This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and does not substitute for professional medical advice. Please seek a medical professional or healthcare provider if you're seeking any medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Thanks, everyone.
Welcome back. I'm Evie.
I keep doing this. I'm Julie. Oh, we forgot to.
We didn't do it in the last one.
I know.
But
Anyway.
we're trying, guys. We're trying to remember to introduce ourselves.
We're trying, yeah. I'm Julie.
And I'm Evie.
And this is Funny Medicine, obviously.
Yeah. I had way too much Celsius. I'm like, I'm Evie. I'm Julie.
Anyway, welcome back. In this episode, we are talking about something that you had talked about way before this even became like as popular as it is right now of a topic.
Yeah.
Seed oils.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of misinformation on seed oils and
tell me about it.
and a lot of fear in seed oils. So I kind of thought that it would be a really nice episode for everyone to just learn about seed oils and what is it really that's dangerous and not, and why do people think it's dangerous and not, and
Exactly. Let's just break it down.
break it down for you.
Yeah, exactly. And what should we do about it, if anything?
Yes,
as
exactly.
well. So start it off.
All right, so what are seed oils? So seed oils are vegetable oils that come from, you guessed it, the seeds of plants, okay? Common types include canola from rapeseed.
I would say rapeseed.
Yeah, rapeseed.
Because the other way sounds really bad.
I wasn't even thinking of that, but I was going to say rapeseed.
Like the new rapper on the scene.
Rapeseed.
Rapeseed.
Yeah,
Coming on the track. Anyway, wow.
canola. Canola, soybean, corn, sunflower, safflower, cottonseed. I didn't even know that was cottonseed, grapeseed. So these oils are widely used in cooking and food manufacturing. They're rich in polyunsaturated fatty acids, so PUFAs, PUFAs.
Puffas.
I mean, puffas. I feel a little.
Puffas? I don't know.
Feel a little bit like like
What?
puffas.
Yeah. I was going to say something and then I'm like, no, he's in big shit right now.
Puff Daddy. Oh yeah,
I know.
he's in a lot of
Well deserved.
depth.
Well deserved to be in that.
In a lot of holes right
if
now.
everything that is alleged is true.
All right, it might be puffas, but I'm gonna say pufas because I feel like that's cuter.
Puffas is cute.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so especially omega-6 fatty acids, which are essential fats for your body's needs and honestly can't make on its own. However, the issue in seed oils isn't the fact that they exist, it's how much of them we're consuming, how they're processed, how they interact with the rest of our modern diet.
Yes.
So take us to the history.
As I typically do. All right, so it's a quick history on seed oils and all that stuff. So before seed oils, people mostly cooked with animal fats, right? I mean, you think about it. How else? Like,
I mean, that's how we grew up,
yeah, pretty much.
with manteca de puerco.
That's it. And that's in English.
Lard.
Yeah, exactly. Pig fat.
Yeah.
So anyway, which like people still do. I mean, if you get bacon fat and you put it in anything,
I mean, it's gonna
taste amazing.
Yeah.
So it's whatever. Anyway, not recommended, but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
so like butter, lard, and tallow, which is very big on the headlines these days.
Oh my god, we should do an episode on beef tallow.
Yeah, because it's even being used like as moisturizer and
facial
everything. Mira,
stuff.
I will be honest. I got influenced one time.
Shut the fuck up. You're using beef tallow?
No, I'm not using it
okay.
anymore. But this was months ago, right? So this is just a quick story, in the history, quick brief history on my adventure with beef tallow, because it was an adventure. So I kept on seeing all these TikTok influencers and whatever, and this and that, and like beef tallow and whatever. And you know me and my skin, man. Me and my skin, it's been a rough journey. Anyway, so I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah.
You know, like if it works, it works. If it doesn't, like, whatever. So I ordered it, and it was one that it was like, I'm not even going to like say the name of it or whatever, but it was one that's like that's beef tallow, but it's mixed with like honey and whatever and all that stuff, right? Mira, I got it. And then I opened up the jar, right?
I was gonna say the smell.
And I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me, right? So I'm like, okay, whatever. So I proceed. I put it on my face and I'm like,
Did you taste it?
no.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, absolutely not. This is not happening. I washed it off immediately. I smelled like bacon fat.
Ew. Wait, honey. Honey bacon.
You couldn't even
Yummy.
like smell the honey or anything. It was so overwhelming beef. I'm like, how do people do this? Like, put it in your face. Like, no, there's no way. I felt like I was cooking instead. It was disgusting. And people were swearing by it. And people still do, you know?
Yeah, I know. People still
And I'm like,
swear
how
about it.
do people do this? Like, the smell. Immediately no.
Yeah.
Straight to the trash. And this was one bad, like, influencing rabbit hole that I went way too far on, and thank God it wasn't too expensive, but it was legit. It was like USDA, like the whole thing, and it smelled like fucking beef. So it was legit. It was real tallow. Negative. Not for me. Not for me. Anyway,
Yeah, no,
so
not for me either.
tallow. So that started to change in the early 1900s with the rise of the industrial agriculture. So companies like Procter and Gamble developed products like Crisco, made from hydrogenated cottonseed oil, and marketed them as cleaner, more modern alternatives to traditional fats. By the 1950s, research suggested that saturated fats, like those in butter and red meat, might increase the risk of heart disease. That led to a major shift, seed oils, right? So went from all that tallow and all that stuff, animal fats, lard, to these seed oils that we're talking about. Typically, we're going to break them down, but typically they are low in saturated fat, and they were also at that time promoted as a quote unquote heart healthy option. This narrative, it's stuck for decades, but today we know the history is a little bit more complex than that.
Yes.
So let's go into exactly what's going on.
Yes. Okay. So we're going to kind of break it down. The first section that we're going to talk about is going to be the potential benefits, okay, of it. When used in moderation, seed oils lowers our LDL, which is our bad cholesterol, when replacing saturated fats in the diet. It also contains essential fatty acids like linoleic acid, which is omega-6, and alpha linoleic acid, which is a form of omega-3, but in a smaller amount. Seed oils are also often free of trans fats, which is especially in their refined forms. Some clinical trials have shown that replacing saturated fats with polyunsaturated fats can reduce heart disease risk, especially when part of a balanced diet and a nutrient-rich diet. Now, here's when we go into the potential risks. The concerns with seed oils stems mostly from one, overconsumption in our modern diet, and then obviously the oxidative byproducts formed during high heat cooking or industrial processing. The other thing that's also risky about it is just like an imbalance of omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acids. So those are kind of the concerns associated with it. The average Western diet contains a disproportionately high amount of omega-6 fats compared to omega-3s, and then this imbalance may contribute to chronic low-grade inflammation, insulin resistance, obesity, cardiovascular disease, and also just neuroinflammatory changes. A diet that's really heavy in ultra-processed foods, which often contain refined seed oils, may also worsen metabolic health and influence mental well-being.
So yeah, I mean, and we're really, really like trying, well, that's not the right way of phrasing it, but we've been seeing a lot in the news about ultra processed foods being like cut down, being eliminated. Check out our recap, which we just did, and stuff like that. They're involved in a lot of that because of course they're cheaper.
Yeah.
Too. So
yeah, exactly. And I think it was like before, how can I say this? I think like everything in excessiveness is bad.
Everything, yeah.
Like, okay, for example, like when I wanted to eat whole foods, right? Then I ate bacon, you know?
Yeah.
Was I eating bacon every single meal of mine? No, I was not. Okay. So you also need to like take into account, right? That amount. Obviously, if you're using just a little bit of animal fat, yes, I'm sure that that's going to be better than using, I don't know, like a cup of it, like an excessive amount, right? So then in came modern times, and they're like, animal fat is associated with higher risk of heart disease. So then markets and manufacturers are like, oh yeah, this is a new modern way. It's also healthier. But now, because of the way it's cooked, because of the way it's used, because of the way that we incorporate into other foods and the way it's made, then that has also, we have gone to now the other extreme.
Exactly. I know that when I was looking into this, I'm like, okay, so let's do a direct comparison then, you know, right? So seed oils versus animal fats. The fat that nobody asked, the fight that nobody asked for, not the fat, but whatever. But everybody's arguing about, because it's true. Everybody is freaking arguing about this. There's podcasts made about it. RFK is talking about it all the time, you know, so let's just talk about this, right? So when it comes to cooking oils and fats, most people fall into one of two camps, right? So team seed oils, which is marketed as heart healthy and modern, or team animal fat, hailed by ancestral low carb diet fans and natural and less processed and all those things.
All those things. All the beautiful words.
Exactly. It's like, oh, our grandpappies used to use this and they were healthy and all that stuff. I'm like,
I love how, like, on our show notes, Julie has the bullet points as bacon.
yeah,
Like little bacon strips.
a little bacon.
Yeah, it's a little bacon. Like, topic number 1, bacon.
And then this one was just like a little cream.
I know, a little cream. It's so funny.
All right, so which one's better for you? As most nutrition questions, it just depends, right? And again, like she had said, also the amount of these things that you are consuming as well. And the context obviously matters. So fat composition, what's actually in these fats, right? First, animal fats, because they were the first ones to be used ancestrally, all those beautiful words, right? And we're talking about here with animal fats about butter, lard, and tallow. So they are high in saturated fat and monosaturated fat with little to no omega-6s. Minimal processing if rendered traditionally. So literally like going to your butcher shop at that point and getting the tallow, which people do. I swear they really are doing this. It's pretty nuts, but okay. You do you. Also,
I feel nausea.
and you feel like how clean is it?
No, yeah.
It's just like the hygienic part of all of that is my problem. Anyway, also contains small amounts of cholesterol, vitamin A and D, especially from grass-fed animals. That's another thing. You can't just get it from whatever, because then that also affects it. So there's just like a lot of things that you got to look into. You can't just like switch over to tallow and think everything's great.
Yeah.
Anyway, like I did, unfortunately. So, heart health, the big debate here, right? So for decades, seed oils were promoted as healthier because they were low in saturated fats, and early research linked saturated fats to higher LDL, which is that bad cholesterol, and increased heart disease risk. But recent studies have challenged that link, suggesting that saturated fats with whole food sources may not be as dangerous as once thought. The quality of the overall diet matters more than one type of fat. Yeah. Literally what she had been saying. And the PUFAs. So PUFAs, PUFAs, like those in seed oils, can reduce LDL, again, that bad cholesterol, but may rise inflammation if consumed in excess. Again, everything in moderation.
Yeah.
So an example of this, a 2020 meta-analysis in the Journal of American College of Cardiology found no significant evidence that saturated fat intake is associated with heart disease, especially when part of a balanced diet.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is that saturated fat isn't automatically the villain, and unsaturated fat isn't automatically the hero. Balance is key.
Yeah.
And then cooking stability, which one breaks down first, right? Because that's the other part of this. It's like, oh, if it breaks down more, like when you're adding more heat to it, then it becomes this bad byproduct, you know, all these bunch of things. Let's talk about that. So one major difference between these two, between seed oils and animal fat, is their heat stability. So seed oils, especially those that are high in omega-6 and the PUFAs, they break down at high temperatures. This creates oxidation byproducts that may promote inflammation and damage cells. That part, yes. Animal fats like lard and tallow are more stable when heated thanks to their higher saturated fat content. That means that there's less oxidation and they are more durable in those high temperatures. If you're pan frying or deep frying, animal fats may actually be safer then, at least in the terms of chemical stability. So again, that's why it all depends on what you're using it for. You just, balance is key. Moderation is key. It's not, I don't think it, in my opinion, I wouldn't just switch to one thing for everything. Clearly here we're seeing that animal fat has its place and seed oils have its place. And we're not even done with this. Anyway, so next, brain and inflammation. Here's where it gets interesting, right? So diets too high in omega-6 seed oils can throw off your omega-6 and omega-3 balance, which plays a role in neural inflammation. That's why some experts link excess seed oil intake to increased risk of mood disorders, cognitive decline, and neural degradation. Animal fats, especially those from pasture-raised animals, often come with fat-soluble vitamins like K2, vitamin D, and vitamin A. and cholesterol, which your brain actually needs to make hormones and support neuron health. But you have to be careful with the amount of cholesterol you're taking in every day.
It's not, yeah, it's like, it's not, I mean, obviously there are things that are bad and you shouldn't be eating.
100%.
But in this case, it's not that. It's the amount that you really need to be careful with.
Exactly. Like she had said earlier, you can't just be like, okay, I'm going to put more whole foods in here and then just have bacon throughout.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes it's even just like, for example, a lot of people, when you're eating an egg, I say you can eat a whole egg. Egg has protein, it has good cholesterol. And then everyone's like, but why do I want the cholesterol? And then I'm like, okay, you're also not going to eat 12 eggs.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
You're having one egg, right? So you're getting the full like nutrient from it, right?
Yeah. All right, but again, it's not about choosing one or demonizing the other. It's about how they fit into your overall nutrient profile of your daily diet. The question that you're probably asking, so which one should I choose? For high heat cooking, consider animal fats, or avocado oil or refined coconut oil. We've been using avocado oil, honestly.
I've made the change to avocado oil a really long time ago, and
I don't taste the difference.
no, and it has a higher boiling point,
Higher heating point.
heating
Yeah.
point.
No, I get what you're saying.
But whatever, heating point.
Exactly.
And
So it's safer in that case.
it's a very neutral taste too, because sometimes I feel that some people don't really like olive oil, like the taste of it.
Yeah, it gets bitter sometimes.
Yeah, so avocado oil, no change. And guys, listen, my father, who was born in Cuba, raised in Cuba, came in Maria, which is, he was in Cuba for a long time, cooked the way of the Cubans, okay, which was with lard.
Yep.
Or at least for most Cubans, okay? I speak for most Cubans.
Yeah, no, my
All
mom
right?
did the same.
It was so hard to get him off the lard.
Yeah.
And there are some things that we still use lard for, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
there's some things that you just can't mess with, right? But again, once in a while. But I finally got him to switch over to avocado oil. Can I tell you, now he talks to me like he never had a problem with avocado oil. He's like, yeah, I eat avocado oil. I don't just,
That is,
Yeah.
those are Cuban parents though.
Yeah.
Those are Cuban parents.
Yeah.
They're never
they'll
wrong.
never admit. Yeah,
No.
they'll never admit that there was something they were doing before that they probably shouldn't have been doing.
Never will admit
Because
that.
it was either lard or vegetable oil,
Yes.
right?
Oh my God, my
Lard or
mom and the
vegetable oil.
masola.
And the masola. That's what I'm saying.
All the freaking time. All the time.
Yeah, so I finally,
All the time.
that's it. He doesn't buy it anymore. He does not buy it anymore, which is insane to see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyways.
No, I
so
get
if
it.
he could do it, what I'm trying to say is that if he could do it, you could do it.
Absolutely. All right, next, for cold dishes and dressings, so olive oil is a great option. You don't have to worry about the heat or, the temperatures at that point, you know? Then for baking, butter or ghee is delicious and it's heat stable.
I used to use ghee a lot.
Yeah, I use butter for
I use butter for
ovens.
pretty much anything though.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to baking, butter.
When I was doing like Whole30 and stuff like that, like trying to eliminate a lot of like lactose and things like that, I used ghee, which I didn't even know ghee existed until that.
No, I know. I recently found out about ghee.
yeah.
Right? It's crazy.
It tastes, obviously there's a difference in taste. Sometimes I actually prefer ghee.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something about the taste that like goes well with
I
certain
haven't
foods.
tasted it enough to know the difference. to be
But
completely honest.
honestly, like I just use butter now. Sometimes I use a little bit of a mix. So
Yeah, that
I'll
makes
do like
sense.
olive oil and butter.
I've done that. Yeah.
But again, guys, this is not
Yeah.
butter is not the devil.
No, it's not. And that's what we're trying to say here. And that's
Yeah,
why I'm
it's
listing it
the
here. Like,
right?
they have places. Like,
We're not Paula Deen here, like cracking out the sticks of butter. Okay, no,
That
like,
was
use
rough.
a tablespoon.
Paula
Butter.
Deen.
Yeah, I mean, there was literally so much butter everywhere.
It was just butter.
It was just butter.
Yeah, it is. That
I love her recipes, but I mean, that was a lot of butter.
she's questionable.
Yeah, huge. But the recipes, though, no, I know you guys can't talk about those recipes, though.
Dude, it's butter. Of course it's gonna taste
Of course,
good.
it's gonna taste good. Yeah,
It's like bacon.
I
you know, you put
Oh my
everything.
God, stop! Like butter cookies, so yummy. Okay, anyways.
Yeah, it's freaking good. Anyway, so limit use of ultra refined seed oils in packaged or fried foods, and focus on eating a variety of whole foods and balance omega-6s and omega-3s. So, in the long and the short of it, high heat, avocado oil or animal fats, that's where they belong. But butter and ghee kind of belong in the baking world. And then like your olive oil, seed oils, things like that, that like denature in high heat. Veggies, like things that don't require high salads, dressings,
Yeah.
all those things. So everything has its place and you could just use them accordingly. And then you're eating balanced.
Yeah.
You're giving an opportunity to everything. And
Exactly.
that's great. So I just wouldn't just switch all of it. Yeah. Oh my God, I just had it on a gross thought.
No, don't tell me. Tell me.
I have to now. Like I have to now. It's like people that have totally switched over to animal fat. How do you get by on baking? Like
No.
beef tallow and cookies?
But butter is an animal fat.
Yeah, but it doesn't taste like beef, and it doesn't
Wait, but
smell
like
like
people
beef.
are like fully just switching over
Some
to
people
beef
have.
tallow?
Some people just do like animal fat, so like lard, beef tallow, mostly tallow, because tallow is now like
Okay,
king.
newsflash for people that are just animal fats. Butter is an animal fat. You can cook with butter, you can bake with butter, right? It doesn't only have to be beef tallow because that is what's trending.
A cake made of tallow, beef tallow.
No, girl.
Oh.
Just use butter, guys. You'll be fine.
You're eating. You're thinking.
But I don't understand why are people like switching over to like full animal fat? Like butter is an animal fat.
People are people.
Yeah, they're
People
just trending. The tallow.
People are
right?
peopling.
People are peopling.
I peopled and tried the freaking beef tallow on my face. It was horrible. Never again.
So gross.
And now I'm like, how could you eat? Like, if I couldn't stand it on my face.
That is like literally how people tell me that they put olive oil on their face.
Yeah, I've heard that too, but I haven't done that.
No, guys,
that
listen.
I have not done.
Look,
I've heard
there's
grapeseed oil,
great.
too.
No, but there are products that are based with olive oil extracts and things like that.
yeah.
However,
true.
the olive oil that you use to cook is not the olive oil that you should keep in your like vanity to put on your face.
Yeah.
No, don't do that.
Yeah. It's a lot. Anyway.
All right, so let's jump into seed oils and mental health. So, emerging research suggests that dietary inflammation may impact the brain as much as it does the body. Diets high in omega-6 and low in omega-3s have been linked to mood disorders, depression, anxiety, and also cognitive decline, which is kind of like slowing down. Your brain starts slowing down. This may be due to influence of inflammatory cytokines on brain chemistry, which is cytokines are kind of just like the messengers. And then as well as changes in the gut-brain communication and neurotransmitter activity. There was a lot of science words there.
Yeah.
But basically the connections between your brain, your gut, all of that has been shown to be influenced from these inflammatory products in these kind of foods.
Check out our episode on the mind-gut connection.
We're still learning how significant of a risk the relationship is, but the early findings support what many clinicians have suspected for years, that what we eat can shape how we feel, right? And how our brains function over time. And that can't be like true enough.
Yep.
If you eat crappy, you feel crappy.
Yeah, it's directly synced. Like it's together, absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so where are these seed oils found? We kind of went through that, but let's really dive into it. They are extremely common in modern food products, and they are found in packaged snacks. So we're talking about like your chips, crackers, cookies, all that good stuff. Not good stuff, bad stuff.
Yeah.
Salad dressings and sauces.
The real emotions came out in there, the good stuff.
It's like that moment, dude. I had an Oreo package here the other day.
Oh, so yummy.
Oreos,
I love
man.
Oreos.
Those are my weakness.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe they're gluten free.
Yeah, there's gluten. Yeah. But have you tried the Oreo thins?
No.
Again, not what it is, girl. The amount. We're preaching here. Get the Oreo thins, I promise. You'll love me forever.
No, man. I had double stuffed Oreos here.
You know, I never liked the double stuffed.
Really?
Just the ratio with the chocolate and the
Yeah.
filling, it has to be perfect. It has to be the regular Oreo. Double stuff messes it up. I don't like it. It's not enough Oreo. It's too much. I was never the kid that like licked the.
Yeah,
the
no, me neither.
filling
We
or
just eat it
anything.
like that, but
No, it messes up the ratio. But the Oreo thins
yeah.
are really, really good.
Really?
Yeah, I
Okay.
promise.
I'll give it a shot because I freaking love Oreos. I really do.
And you can have 4 for like 130 calories, I think.
Oh,
something like that.
dang.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're thins, right? They're not as thick as the
Yeah.
Oreos,
Yeah,
but,
but still.
they're still really good. And
It
now
satisfies that
I don't even buy the regular Oreos. I prefer the Oreo thins.
I'm definitely gonna try it.
Yeah.
Because I do have that itch that I'm like, damn it, I really want a freaking Oreo.
You can have it.
Yeah.
It's,
Anyway,
again, the amount.
exactly. Anyway, so fried fast foods, baked goods, like we were talking about, frozen meals, plant-based alternatives like vegan cheese or margarine.
I've tried it. I can't do. I tried the vegan cheese. I
Dude,
can't do
one
it.
time I tried.
You could try though.
no,
You
no,
could try, but honestly, I think just limiting for me personally,
yeah.
I just limit it.
Listen, I bought by mistake these vegan sausage like little links. It was purely by mistake. I would never actually like buy that full front. Not because I'm against veganism or anything like that. No, not at all. It's just not for me. Like it's just not my flavor profile. I bought it by mistake, thinking that they were like.
It was an error.
I bit into one after cooking it or whatever. I bit into one. I still remember the taste, and
That's
I'm
like
still
Julie's
nauseous
story
right now.
when she first tried kombucha.
Yes, it's right there. They're right there with each other. I couldn't eat anything that resembled a hot dog, a sausage, nothing like that for months.
Oh my god.
For months. Dude, it's hard for me to just like gag.
Yeah.
And it was a piece. It was a bite. And I hard spit it out. Ran to because at that time we were living in the apartment. Ran from the table that was right there to the kitchen. Remember that?
Yeah.
It was like right there. Ran over to the sink, spit it out, and I thought I was gonna vomit.
Gross.
That's how bad it tasted to me. I was, ugh, and Marla was like, what? And I'm like, don't eat that. I was like, don't do it for the love of God. Don't do it. Because if I'm reacting like this, and he's like, what are they? I'm like, I don't know. So I went and I looked at the package. I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? And then he's like, what the hell did you buy? And I'm like, they're vegan sausage links. He's like, what? Who would you buy vegan sausage links? I'm like, I don't know. It was chaotic. It was a chaotic morning, all because
my
of these
God.
vegan sausage links.
Wow.
Guys, like, it's great. Like, if you found one, I don't know what brand it was. All I know is that I will never try that again.
And this was a very long time ago. Maybe times have changed. Maybe the vegan sausages aren't. Have you tried the Impossible Burger?
No, I haven't. But the thing about
Bad. It's not bad.
they're so processed
Yeah.
that at that point, it's like, just eat the freaking burger.
Yeah.
That's how I see it.
Or don't eat a burger.
Or don't eat a burger.
Yeah,
You know,
at
at
that
that point,
point-
don't eat it. You know, but if you're like, oh, I really want a burger, but I'm like, you know, I don't think the Impossible Burger is the way to go. My opinion, sorry, Impossible Burger, but like, it's
I've tried it. It's not terrible, but it's not a burger.
it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. And if you're trying to,
Like newsflash, I know they're trying to say that it like tastes like a burger. It does not. Okay, but for what it is,
but it's so processed. Like, more
Yeah.
and more stuff is coming out about that type.
yeah.
That it's like that we're going back to the ultra processed.
Yeah,
Like, at that
exactly.
point, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know.
I think they're just like really trying to find a place in the market
Yeah.
for people with these sort of dietary restrictions to feel like they're still having something. But then again, like honestly, it's weird now that I think about it. I have vegan friends.
Yeah.
And I've never heard them rave about an Impossible Burger either.
Yeah, I've never heard anybody rave about an Impossible Burger. Let's start with that. Let's just go there.
But you would think that they'd like, no.
Yeah, no. I feel like people that are truly vegan and stuff like that, they're not really actively.
But they do love the jackfruit.
Yeah,
Like
I
the
mean,
meat?
but they do some crazy magician stuff
Like in
with
soy?
that. Yeah, that's the thing. Like they do some magician
Julie
stuff
would
with
love
that.
to eat that one.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm sorry. Again, I'm not trying to like.
No, guys, it's just Julie.
It's just me. I'm a picky eater, and I suck at eating. Like
just a
when it
carnivore.
comes to that stuff. But anyway, go ahead.
All right, so let's do some latest research stuff. Okay, so as of 2023 to 2024, researchers are focusing more on oxidized linoleic acid metabolites, oxalams. Okay, that doesn't sound cute like PUFAs, but
No, it doesn't.
oxalams,
Maybe
which
like a llama, an oxalam. So
oxalam.
I'm trying, but no, it's not sticking.
Anyways, so this is basically a byproduct, okay, of cooking seed oils at high heat, which may promote inflammation and cellular damage. Anything that's oxidized and has like free radicals and things like that
not
can
good.
really cause a lot of cellular damage. okay?
Exactly.
The impacts of ultra-processed foods, including oils, on the gut microbiome, how modern oil processing techniques like repeated heating in restaurants increase oxidative stress in the body. And that's actually, there has been some research on that, like reusing
Oh, I know.
oil. And my parents used to reuse oil all
My mom still took not long.
time.
till not long ago, she used to do that shit.
Yeah, yeah,
It would
yeah.
drive me insane.
My parents
I would
like
op-
save the oil. Yeah.
yeah, I would open the oven and
Yeah.
there's the freaking pan full of it. And it's like, oh, I just used it once. And I'm like, then it's done.
Yeah.
Then it's done. You used it.
Yeah.
That means it uses it.
It's not very common for people to reuse oil.
It's not a reusable thing.
yeah.
We're okay.
Yeah.
Let's move on. It's just until recently, dude. And then the first time Mario ever saw that. Mario my husband, he comes from a very different like Cuban background. It's not the same Cuban background as Evie and I that are more recent immigrants. So there's still a lot of that, a lot of these things, isms, I guess you could call them, like Cubanisms. When he first saw that,
When Lucy was born here, right?
yeah, she was born here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
so
then
Mario, okay, yeah.
came over.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's very different. Our parents came
parents-
here as adults.
Adults, yeah,
You know,
exactly.
so it's like
very different, very different.
It's a different type of like Cubanisms, you know? So the first time that Mario opened up the oven and he saw like a whole set thing, so a pan, right? With oil, he's like, what the fuck is this? Like, why is this in here? I'm like,
I can imagine Mario's
he
face.
was so perplexed.
So confused, probably.
Confused. Yes.
And
Confusion.
Mario's face when he's confused, he looks at Julie. I don't know what it is. It's like this. I don't know. It's because you guys have been together for so long
Probably.
that he just like looks at you and you know exactly what
Yeah.
he's saying.
Oh, yeah. Confusion.
Yeah.
And she's like,
And he like looks at Julie because Julie solves that for him, right?
yeah. Yeah. So he looks at me with that confusion and I'm like, yeah, it's probably from frying yesterday. I told her to throw it away, but clearly she didn't. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, she says that since she used it only once that it's still good for another go. He's like, no. And I'm like, I know. We're getting there. We're working. We're working.
on
You
it.
know, I typically have to like throw it away.
Yeah.
Because she won't. So then I'll throw it away. And then she's like, why is that? And I'm like, we're back to the same conversation for like the umpteenth time.
Yeah.
You will always do that and I will always throw it away. So let's just continue. But that's how it is, you know? And then like eventually, I'm telling you, recently, she has finally stopped doing that. Finally. But it is, and I think it had to do with like one time that Mario was like, Malino.
Yeah. It was like Mario had to say it, not you.
I don't know. Me, I would just keep on throwing it out.
Yeah.
After her.
Exactly.
You know, because she wouldn't. It was to the point that Mario was like, no, we don't need to do this.
Yeah.
This doesn't
Let me hold
need
your
to-
hand, Mark.
We don't have to do this anymore. It's done.
Is that for like a parent, like a Cuban? But you know, sometimes I feel it's because you know Cuba's a very different world,
Yeah.
right? It is not. It's a third world country, right?
Yeah.
And you can't just use oil and then expect to go to the market and pick it up the next day.
Anything.
So, yeah, or anything for that matter.
Hence,
So
remember-
you have to keep on using that. You need to make it stretch.
It's like all the plastics. Remember when we were talking about microplastics
Yeah.
that our parents would like reuse Ziploc bags,
Ziploc bags, yeah.
reuse solo cups, wash them and reuse them and stuff
Yeah.
like that when not necessary, not meant for that
I-
either. So
I know.
yeah, it's just anyway.
All right.
yeah.
So newer studies are also explore.
I got it. Bring it back, you know.
Right, so newer studies are also exploring whether replacing seed oils with monounsaturated fats like olive or avocado oil offers better long-term outcomes for heart and brain health. Spoiler alert, it does. Okay. So still, mainstream health organizations like the AHA, the American Heart Association, continues to recommend unsaturated fats, including seed oils, over saturated ones, emphasizing the overall dietary quality rather than one single ingredient. So it's
Again, it's all about the balance.
all about the balance, yeah.
They each have a place in your diet if
Exactly.
you want it like that.
And diet like nutrition in general, dietary preferences.
Yeah.
It's so unique to everyone.
100%.
So
Yep.
that's yeah.
So, how can you make healthier choices? As we've been talking about, like how they each belong possibly in their own place. So, here's how you can reduce your risk without swinging into fear-based dieting, which is like very, very trending these days.
Yeah, I'm sure that
unfortunately.
everyone's okay. Wrap it up, ladies. How can I make it healthier? What can I
Yep.
do?
Yep. So, if you want, here we go. Cook with olive oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, or ghee for most of your meals. Okay, so if you're like really like stressed out about all of this because there's just too much, here you go. You could use this for most of them, right?
Yeah.
So reduce your intake of fried and heavily processed foods, especially from restaurants, you know, because guaranteed many restaurants will reuse
that oil. And also,
Yep.
I was gonna say, if you have such an excess amount of oil that you can use it for another meal, that might cue you into it's maybe too much oil.
Yeah.
Like I think it was like very hard for me to understand when my parents like reusing oil because
But
like
it was
when
when they were frying.
yeah, when they were frying, exactly.
Exactly.
But and I don't fry things.
Yeah, no.
I'm not because of I love fried foods, right?
Yeah.
But I'm actually afraid of frying.
Oh, me too.
So I don't
Me too. The only one that fries here is my mom.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why. And
I
it's
think
like,
maybe my
and I've
might fry,
limited
but
it. And that's another reason why like I keep dumping it because like it limits the amount of times that she
the
fries.
food.
It's like God. And it has helped. It has helped in like her frying capabilities. And it's an overall good effort anyway. Balance your fat intake by increasing omega-3 rich foods like salmon, flaxseed chia, walnuts, all those things. And then check ingredient labels for hydrogenated or highly refined oils. Store oils properly. Keep them cool and away from light to prevent that oxidation that makes them not very good anymore. And the goal isn't perfection, it's awareness and balance, as we've always said.
Yeah. So most common seed oils ranked healthier to least ideal.
Yeah.
Number 1, flaxseed oil, high in omega-3s, anti-inflammatory, supports your brain, your heart health. It is very delicate, so not suitable for cooking, basically only using it for cold stuff like smoothies, maybe dressings, things like that.
Yeah.
High oleic sunflower oil. I've tried sunflower oil. It has a very particular taste.
It does. Yeah.
So it's high in monounsaturated fats like oleic acid and also low in omega-6. It is stable at high heat, better for cooking than traditional sunflower oil. It's also less inflammatory than regular sunflower oil. The next one is going to be canola oil, so cold pressed preferred. Moderate omega-3s, low saturated fats. It's generally well tolerated and has a neutral flavor. However, it does have refined versions of it, and it's often used in processed foods. Soybean oil, high in omega-6, some omega-3s. All right. It's used widely in food manufacturing, and then it can also contribute to omega-6 overload if heavily consumed. Okay. And then corn oil is very high in omega-6, super pro-inflammatory if not balanced with omega-3s, and then commonly very much known in processed foods and fast foods. Okay.
Yeah.
Cottonseed oil. Never had this. Or at least I don't think I've ever had it. Maybe I have.
It's probably in like
In something that I don't know. Yeah.
packaged something or another.
So it's super high in omega-6. Really, there's no nutritional benefit from it.
Yeah.
Often highly refined and bleached. You'll
Not a
never
health
find it in a health food.
Yeah.
No omega-3s. It can contain pesticide residue. So if you see cottonseed oil, just let it go.
don't.
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go. You'll be fine. You'll live without that thing. Okay. And then the lowest on that list is grapeseed oil. Okay. So it's high in omega-6 PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. And then it's also marketed as healthy, but very unstable when it's heated. I think this is like the most common thing that people know about grapeseed oil is that you can't cook with it. But also it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It oxidizes really quickly. So it's really not ideal for cooking at all, like we said.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, there you have it. When it comes to seed oils, of course.
Yeah. But if you like really think about it, like in this list that we just provided, if you're cooking, which is usually when you use an oil, right? Like where else do you use an oil? If it's not for cooking or like food.
No, I don't know.
I think it's just maybe
it's gotta
this,
be.
and this list is also really helpful. So when
Yeah.
you start reading nutritional
Exactly.
things and like the ingredients and things like that, so you can see what oils they're actually using and have a better idea of what can be bad or good. But really, like,
Yeah.
just use avocado oil or olive oil,
Yeah.
maybe some butter, ghee, and things like that. For when you're cooking, you really don't need much else.
Yeah. You don't. You really don't.
Yeah.
You really don't. Anyway, so a brief thing to just put a nice little bow to this episode is just the future of medicine and public health now, having gone through all of this, and now that seed oils has come up to the forefront for so many reasons. Going forward, medicine is focusing less on demonizing ingredients and more on patterns of eating, as we keep harping on.
Yeah.
These growing interests in precision nutrition personalizing diets based on an inflammation risk, metabolic markers, and genetics. Public health advocates are pushing for regulation on oil reuse in commercial kitchens. That's definitely has to be done because that is being used, reused, and abused in many places. And we're starting to teach people that ultra-processed diets, not seed oils alone, are the bigger concern.
Yeah, which is, if you check out our recap episode, we kind of harp on this idea that it's not about the dye, it's not about any, it's the fact that like you're replacing things. It's the fact it's like an ultra processed food. Like just stay away from that in general.
Exactly.
And that is a really big thing that's really hard for people to let go of.
Yeah, because it's just been ingrained in our
It's just been
diets.
ingrained in our diets. Exactly. There's no other way. We've just lived with that, so it's really hard for us to stray from what we know.
Exactly. Absolutely. So yeah, ultimately food science is just moving towards just an easier conversation, really. Let's just have a conversation about this, not just like pushing one way. And you got to consider the quality, the context, and the quantity of these things. That's the biggest
And how
takeaway
often
of
you're
this.
eating it, right? Like how much does what portion of your diet makes that up?
You could have the tallow. You can do it, but you gotta not have it with everything you eat. Yeah. The same thing with the seed oils. You could have seed oils, but not in everything. It's just like
And if you can make a healthier choice, right?
Exactly.
So seed oils are not toxic poisons, but they're also not magical like health elixirs either, like how it was previously thought to be. I feel like Bobby from Flave City. Do you know who he is?
Yes.
He's super against seed oil. He's probably like rolling.
You see what I mean? That's what I'm seeing of a lot now. Yeah, that like people are just like,
I think he's a little excessive.
that's it. It's like the excessiveness of like, no, it's gotta be only animal fat. And I'm like, guys,
But you know what? There's
it
people that are
doesn't have to
excessive
be
and they
that.
love him. So
Yeah, it doesn't, whatever. Anyway, so that's pretty much it, guys. Hope you guys liked it. Hope this brought a little bit of clarity.
I love
because,
this
like,
episode. This was super informative.
I keep on like bumping into the whole seed oil thing, and I'm like, why has this become like such a freaking topic of contention now? But there you have it. At least
We didn't even mention palm oil too. It's like,
oh my god, no, this was a very like
that's the most common thing.
just a summary of things, but you could definitely take deeper dives into a lot more oils. I just focused on the ones that most people use on a daily basis more popular, mostly sold, mostly that you could find in these ultra processed like situations and whatnot. So yeah, I hope this brought some clarity. Mostly, and I wanted to really focus on it being more of a summary of like seed oil versus animal.
Yeah.
Because that's like the two opposing forces these days out there in the media. But anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. We shall see you in the next one. Please keep doing everything you're doing. Find us on all forms of social, Funny Medicine Podcast on practically everything.
Follow us on Threads.
Yes.
We love interacting with our audience.
Absolutely. And if you guys have anything that you would like for us to cover, let us know either in any of our socials or on our email, funnymedicine305@gmail.com. And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.